Welcome to Focus on Health, a series of educational programs highlighting current health issues sponsored by the School of Nursing at Salisbury University. I'm Dr. Mary D. Bartolo, Professor of Nursing and host of the program. Today we are going to do a Cooking for Health installment, and I welcome back Katie Dorsch.
Thank you for having me.
You are a clinical dietitian with the Richard A. Henson Cancer Institute,
Yes.
located at Peninsula Regional Medical Center.
That's right.
And you are here to talk about breast cancer and some of the myths surrounding the connection to soy. And then you have what looks to be a delicious recipe involving some soy.
That's right. So soy and breast cancer, it kind of gets a bad rap. I hear often from patients, especially who've been diagnosed with hormone-positive breast cancers, that they can't have soy, that it's bad for them, that it's going to make their tumors grow, so they avoid it altogether. So I like to just give a little bit of information, clear up some of the misconceptions about soy.
Because there is some research on this now.
Correct. So initially, back in the 80s, they were doing studies on soy and cancer, especially in mice. And they found that soy could help tumors grow. Well, what actually happened was mice aren't a very good model for soy. People metabolize it a little bit differently than mice do. So once we took those studies to the general population, we didn't get the same results. One misconception is that soy actually contains estrogen. It doesn't. It contains what we call phytoestrogens because they have a similar structure to estrogen, but they aren't. Soy actually doesn't have hormones in it. It doesn't contain estrogen.
So there's no real connection to where people need to avoid soy with a breast cancer diagnosis.
Correct. So studies, since those original mouse studies, there have been several large ones, especially looking at Asian populations where soy is consumed more frequently than it is here in America. And what we find is, especially early in life, if you consume soy products in your younger years and your preteen years, it's actually cancer protective, so reduces your risk of breast cancer. And then what we did find is for patients that do have breast cancer, consuming a moderate amount of soy each day does not increase your risk of breast cancer, and it doesn't affect tumor growth in any way.
And what are some sources of soy? Because we know tofu, and that's eaten a lot in the Eastern cultures, but there's plenty other sources of soy.
Sure, yeah. A few popular ones would be, of course, the tofu, like we have here, that you can just buy in the produce aisle. And tofu's great because it's kind of a blank canvas. So it doesn't have a lot of flavor, so you can really flavor it however you like to. It's used a lot in stir fries, fried rice, soups, and even just grilled. It's a great meat alternative, a plant-based protein. Another popular soy product is, of course, soy sauce that we use a lot for flavoring and seasoning. I prefer the low sodium so that you get a little less salt with it.
Sure.
But soy sauce is used a lot. Edamame, which is just frozen soybeans, is another great soy-based product. It's a good source of protein. It's good in salads, in soups, again, stir fries, things like that. And you can just buy it in the freezer section of the grocery store.
And you can buy it already shelled, or they have them where they're still in the shell, and you can, I've seen them roasted with some salt, and you just pop them out and eat them as an appetizer.
Exactly, yeah, especially if you go to like a nice Asian restaurant, they'll have the edamame in the pods that you can, they're fun to eat before your meal comes out. But you can buy it also already shelled, and all you have to do is thaw it out. Some other popular soy products would be soy milk, which is of course a milk alternative, and it's a little more comparable to cow's milk than some of the other plant-based milks.
Because it has protein in it.
Correct, yeah. So almond milk and coconut milk, those types of milks don't really have any protein, whereas soy milk is a pretty good source of protein.
I've seen some soy yogurt now. Yogurt made with soy?
Yeah, they do also make some soy yogurts now. And other soy-based products, and it's a good way to get more plant-based proteins in. Of course, for cancer prevention guidelines, we always encourage more fruits and vegetables and plant-based foods. So incorporating some soy products, if you like them, is a good way to do that.
So we are here doing a Cooking for Health show at MAC Incorporated, Area Agency on Aging in Salisbury, and you have a beautiful array of colorful veggies and things. And what exactly are you making as far as this recipe?
Sure, so we're making a kale salad with a Thai peanut vinaigrette, and we're going to use 2 sources of soy in our salad today. One is these edamame, the frozen soybeans, as well as in our dressing we're going to have some soy sauce. So you can have, the guidelines are for 1 to 2 servings a day of soy is safe for people to consume. So a serving, for example, would be a cup of edamame, a few tablespoons of soy sauce, a cup of soy milk, a few ounces of tofu. So there are lots of things to choose from. And most people in a typical American diet, we don't consume that much soy anyway. So if you're thinking about incorporating these things, it's just something to try a couple of times a week, maybe.
Now that is some beautiful kale. I know there's
Sure.
some carrots in there as well, but it's purple and green kale.
Correct. So I have a couple different kinds of kale. There's some purple kale, or sometimes called red Russian kale, that you can usually get at your local farmers markets or CSA. There's also just some regular chopped kale from the grocery store, and this has been softened up a little bit with a drizzle of olive oil and some kosher salt, and kind of massage your kale leaves a little bit, and that helps soften it so it's less tough.
I know that's a common complaint about kale. It's a hot new superfood, but people, think it is a little tough. So.
Yeah, it
But
can
you're
be a
saying
little
the
tough.
purple is less tough?
Yeah, the purple is a little bit better in salads because it is a little more tender than just the regular curly kale.
Okay.
Certainly if you didn't like kale, you could use a different type of green. If you like spinach or even lettuce would be fine in the salad. But this makes a great lunch, especially since kale can be dressed ahead of time and it keeps really well in the refrigerator. So it's good for making a quick lunch and having it throughout the week.
Doesn't wilt so fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well, show us how you're going to make this dish.
Sure. So we have our kale. This is about 6 cups of kale altogether. And we have some carrot ribbons in here, which look a lot fancier than they actually are. All we're going to do is take our peeler and just shave some ribbons from our carrot. You could certainly grate your carrot or just chop it up if you'd prefer, but I think this adds a nice texture and fun color to it.
Oh, absolutely.
We eat with our eyes.
I've never
first.
seen such a colorful dish.
Okay, so just doing the best you can with getting all of this carrot shaved off. Okay, and then we're going to add a cup of the edamame. So this comes frozen. You can buy it in the frozen vegetable section of the grocery store. I just thawed it in some hot water for a few minutes. And
that's sufficient to...
Yep, and it's ready to go. So we're going to sprinkle that over. And again, these edamame, they're a good source of protein, much like other beans. This is about a half a cup of roughly chopped roasted cashews. Again, this is going to be another source of protein as well as some texture and some healthy fat.
And flavor. I know a lot of people love cashews.
Yes.
A tasty nut.
And this is about a cup of chopped cilantro, which adds great flavor and fragrance as well. These are some chopped scallions or green onions, about 4 to 5 of them. If you didn't like scallions or if you didn't have them, you could certainly use a different onion.
Would a red onion suffice?
Sure. And these are some sliced mini bell peppers. So again, you just buy them in the grocery store. They come in a little bag, and these are really great for salads and for snacking. These are about 6 sliced bell peppers. You can see we're getting more colorful.
Yes.
And all those different colors are different phytochemicals. So different compounds in our foods that can help our bodies work better, get rid of those free radicals that might be causing cancer. So loads of good stuff in there. We're going to make a quick dressing to go with this. We have about 4 teaspoons of peanut butter, just regular smooth peanut butter, a couple tablespoons of honey, some ground ginger is already in here. We're going to add a little bit of minced garlic. I love buying these jars of already minced garlic. It's great just to keep on hand.
I keep cloves in the fridge, but I have one of those garlic smashers, which makes it easy to...
If you have a garlic press, that certainly does make it a little easier. So we're just going to add a little bit of minced garlic.
So what's that, about a teaspoon?
Yeah, about a teaspoon. If you were mincing fresh cloves, you could do about 1 or 2 cloves.
You mentioned ginger. Ginger's very good for you as well. Correct?
It is, especially you know, for nausea and things like that. Making a ginger tea, or if you don't feel well, if you have a cold in the winter. Slicing up or mincing some fresh garlic and making a tea from
ginger?
that.
Okay.
Can be a really good idea. And here it gives us some nice pungent flavor.
Some people don't like the taste of ginger, though. Do you have to keep the ginger in there if you don't care for it, or cut down the amount a bit?
Sure, you could either cut it down, or if you don't like it, you could leave it out altogether. It's certainly flexible to suit your taste.
Sure.
There's a little bit of crushed red pepper in here. Depending on if you like things spicy or not. I put about a 1/4 teaspoon. If you liked things spicier, you could certainly add more or less. And we're going to add to our dressing some soy sauce. So we have 2 sources of soy in the salad, the edamame and the soy sauce. There's 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, as well as some rice vinegar, some water just to thin it out a little bit, and some sesame oil, which adds a really great flavor.
It does.
Yep. So most of these ingredients can be found in the Asian food section of the grocery store. Okay, so we're just going to add that and whisk everything together.
Peanut butter takes a few minutes to whisk in, doesn't it?
It does.
I'm sure it'll be great. It just sounds like a great combination of ingredients.
Yeah, it's especially these kind of Asian Thai flavors. Often you combine something sweet and something spicy, so you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Right.
Now it looks like our dressing is whisked together pretty well. So we're just going to pour this over.
Almost need a bigger bowl, don't we? Looks great, though.
Toss everything together.
Looks delicious.
You ready to give it a try?
I sure am. Although I see you have some lime there. Does that go on top?
Correct. So you can either add a squeeze of lime on top, or you could certainly add it to your dressing.
Mix it in
Yep.
before you pour it over.
So this is about a teaspoon or so of fresh squeezed lime juice.
Lime and cilantro go great together.
They really do. It's a great combination, and the lime just kind of brightens everything up a little bit. Okay.
All right.
So it looks
Ready to
like
give
this
it a
is
try.
ready to go.
All right, thank you. That is really good. Just enough like peanut butter to give it that flavor, and then the peppers and green onions and cilantro.
It's a nice bright flavor and very colorful.
Now I noticed we didn't use any tofu in this salad, but maybe tell our viewers, give our viewers some ideas on what they could do with tofu.
Sure. So tofu comes as a big block, and what you need to do is drain it. You can cut it into slices and usually press it between some paper towels to get that excess water out. And then you can either cook it in the oven, you could heat it in a skillet. I like to toss it with a little bit of cornstarch and soy sauce. That cornstarch gives it a nice coating, and then bake it in the oven, and it turns out really crispy.
And it has a little more flavor, doesn't it?
It does.
I've
yeah.
had tofu. It just tastes like nothing to me unless you put soy sauce on it or something. So
Sure. So it's definitely important to use a marinade or some kind of sauce with it to give it some flavor. And then you can add it to salads. You can add it to stir fry. You could add it to really anything that you wanted to. You could even do it on the grill if you'd like. So it's pretty versatile.
sounds good. Now there's another product I've seen in healthy stores and restaurants. Tempeh, is that a soy product as well?
Sure, tempeh is also a soy-based product. Sometimes it has some other grains in it, but the soybeans are actually fermented, which when that happens, it's actually a little bit easier to digest than just the fresh soybeans. So similar to tofu, it's kind of a blank canvas. You can add it to a marinade and cook it either in the skillet or the stove. And again, put it in any kind of dishes you like. I've seen it used a lot in salads, as well as stir fries or just noodle bowls.
That's how I had it. It was sliced on top of a salad. And it reminded me of tofu, but they did flavor it up, so.
Yeah, and some people prefer tempeh because it has a little firmer texture. It's a little bit chewier, whereas tofu's kind of soft.
Okay, so some closing remarks on soy.
Sure, so just remember that if you want to eat soy, it is safe for people to consume, whether you have breast cancer or not. 1 to 2 servings of soy a day is safe for people to consume. We do recommend avoiding soy powders or soy supplements, just because those haven't been studied as well as whole soy food ingredients.
Right, so natural sources of soy.
Correct. Like we would recommend for most things, getting your vitamins and minerals from food, not from powders and supplements. So enjoy soy.
Okay, and thank you, Katie, for coming in and giving us this wonderful recipe and information about the importance of soy or the safety of soy.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us for this edition of Focus on Health here on PAC 14.